Advice for parents' infidelity. Hello all. Apologies for mistakes, I am not mother tongue. Also, throw away used and details changed to try protect identities of all parties. It's a long post and might be in the wrong sub. The post is written in my 30M perspective, but it's on behalf of my wife, 29F. But she is aware of it and basically an editor for this post. I was asked as I have more experience with English. When her and I met in 2014, I was given a serious warning about her father, focusing on his misdeeds and her parents' divorce. To the point that I was pretty intimidated to meet the Machiavellian, cheating, stealing mastermind. At the time she had just come out of a period of NC with him. Later into our relationship, the first time she took me to her hometown, I met her family. Much to my surprise, her father was a reserved, respectful person. Her mother, despite coming across as a sweet lady, spent most of her time complaining about him and his actions. In some cases, this was directed at behavior at events we were also present for, and therefore verifiably false as we were witnesses. I pointed out some of the clashes between narrative and reality pretty early on to my wife. We didn't think much of it and chalked it up to her mom's trauma and general outlook on life. Over the years, my so's relationship with Phil kept improving, as despite being reserved he always made time and was very generous. My wife's relationship with Mil on the other hand has gotten worse, as they've clashed over Mil's behavior, hypocrisy, and the fact that she smeared Phil's name at any chance she was given. This could be its own series of posts. It's worth noting that Mil has driven many people away in the last few years. Wife is not an isolated case. My wife gave birth at the start of the year and Phil kindly offered to help us as we were both transitioning back to full-time work whilst juggling some health issues with our infant. My wife had expressed several times that she wished she knew more about the circumstances of the divorce, but both her and her dad both being introverted and avoiding heavy topics meant this conversation wasn't happening. Eventually she asked and she discovered many things, mainly that Mil was the one that cheated. He agreed to in order to keep the family together. Fights and other issues led to a divorce anyway a few years later. Unlike many of the wild accusations that came from Mil over the years, this was backed with an impressive amount of evidence, as when he was investigating the affair he saved things like phone logs on Google Docs. This discovery was pretty devastating and infuriating to my wife as, for a long period my wife was completely NC with Phil due to these accusations, which ended up being the other way around. Lots of guilt here. Her older sister still has a very strained relationship with Phil due to the accusations. A large part of the community, including many of wife's friends, have heard Mil's stories and have unfavorable opinions of Phil. He bit his tongue through abuse, thinking it would keep the family together. He was vilified regardless and the one labeled the homewrecker. Mil has insisted over the years that she disapproves of wife having any relationship with Phil. Mil generally acts holier than thou and refers to herself as pure, victim, etc. He has asked my wife to not share this. Obviously I know, so she didn't exactly nail it, as he hasn't told a single soul other than his current wife. He especially asked not to tell her sister as he knows this would destroy her relationship with Mil. My wife finds this ridiculous as she believes Sil has a right to know. Also she wants to go scorched earth on his behalf over a decade after all this happened. Wife pushed Phil to tell Sil, but he insisted that if she asks, like wife did, he will share his side, but he didn't want to instigate. The advice we're looking for is whether to go rogue by telling Sil, and if she does so, how to approach the topic with the sis. Who lives in their hometown and isn't someone wife can just invite out for a coffee. Also relationship with Sil isn't great as Mil's propaganda machine has turned towards my wife as the relationship has gotten worse. Seven-year relationship and cheated on twice? I am 31, choosing to share my story because I'm having a hard time dealing with my circumstances. I have been with my partner, F31, for 7 years now. We first had issues a couple of years ago that broke us up for 3 months, but to my understanding she was seeing someone else during the time. I don't know if it contributed to breaking up at the time or how soon after it started. After being with someone for 4 years, I believe that you need to take some time for yourself to reflect before jumping into something with someone else. We started to talk again during those 3 months. She never mentioned being involved with someone else. I found out by snooping around. It hurt like if I was cheated on, so I confronted her and she told me that we weren't together, so it doesn't count. She had me believe that her actions were justified, so I gave the relationship another chance. It was rough for about 6 months, but we made it through. Fast forward to 3 weeks ago, we got together for her coworker's house for his birthday. Get together, well, we all get home, everything is fine. While with my partner, she receives a message from her coworker admitting to have cheated on his wife with one of his friends. We were shocked, so the next morning we woke up and decided we were going to have lunch with the couple for support and a distraction. We start to drink and everything is going fine at this point. Lunch is over, but we aren't ready to stop hanging out, so we decide to go to a local brewery. We're at the brewery at one point of the night. My partner and her coworker are missing for a suspiciously long time. I text her and ask what was going on. She said that she was listening to her coworker vent about having cheated on his wife the night before. I didn't buy the story completely, but I accepted her answer. They came back and I noticed something was off. I keep seeing them make weird eye contact several times. I pull her aside and ask what's going on, and she says nothing. When we went home, everything was okay, or so I thought. I woke up to a text from her coworker's wife saying that she went through her husband's phone and found deleted messages that they slept together that night. I immediately left her. It is now 3 weeks, 2 weeks of no contact and a week of speaking. I have agreed to work on things, but it doesn't feel like I'm making the right choice. It feels like a disservice to myself. I go to bed thinking of what happened and I wake up feeling the same. My partner said it was a huge mistake and that she regrets it very much. I love her very much, but it's a very messed up situation. Any advice? "8 months pregnant and discovered cheating." I posted this in another sub, but I think this might be a better place to go. Hi. I found out 2 days ago that my boyfriend has been cheating on me with someone who he's lied to me about in the past. We have a house together and are expecting our first child in less than 2 months. Obviously I am crushed. One of his former girlfriends contacted me a few months ago about him cheating, and then I was contacted again by someone else in his life letting me know I needed to look into his Instagram account. After I saw the contact with all the different women, I reached out to some of them for some information. They happily provided it to me and let me know that he was cheating on me, and often. One of them even offered to come and sit with me and help me and just let me talk. I appreciate her very much. He still hasn't admitted to everything that I know about, but at this point it doesn't really matter. I don't really know what to do. I know the first few days need to be for processing. I have been through this before, but I am having trouble even thinking straight. I want to be able to keep my house and my dogs, but I can't afford the house alone. I also don't want to be a single mother. I don't even want to be a mother at all at this point, which I know sounds really horrible, but it is my truth. I'm at the lowest point of my entire life, and I don't feel like I have what I need to be a good parent to a child. I certainly don't have the love or patience in my heart that a child deserves. I want my son to have a good life. I would never abandon him, and I know even though I feel these ways I am going to do what I need to do for my son, but I don't want to. More than that, I don't want him to be raised by his father, who right now I consider an evil person. I am only considering reconciliation for the sake of the child. I don't have the strength or will to be a single mother. We have a day scheduled to talk to a counselor. I don't see it helping anything, as he has said point blank he did what he had to do for himself. I am more hopeful that the counselor can help me with some direction for myself, since I have none. That is also why I am here. I really need help. I am terrified of losing my house and my dogs. I also have chickens and don't want anything to happen to them either. Above all, I want a stable and loving household for my son, which frankly I don't think I can provide. I tried to follow all the rules and hope this post doesn't get deleted. Thanks in advance for any help. A kid's perspective: what my BH dad got right. Post-separation. Editing to clarify, I'm not saying this is the right path for everyone or that my dad would have been wrong if he'd coped differently. I'm also not justifying cheating, I am absolutely against it. I'd hoped that was clear. It's just my story. As an adult now, looking back at how my parents handled splitting up after the breakdown of their relationship and my mom's All I can say is I hope for any child whose parents aren't succeeding with that they have an outcome similar to ours. I know it has taken my dad a huge amount of strength to accept that my mom left to be with her coworker. At the time, she expected to get custody of me and my siblings, but it didn't work out that way, as we chose to stay put. Despite Dad's pain, despite knowing Mom planned on practically replacing him, he told her that he wouldn't ever keep us from her. He knew that wouldn't be healthy for us, and he wanted the best for the family. He told us that while he is angry at her, we shouldn't be, and that the best way to support him was not to take sides, that was for the grown-ups, not for us kids to hurt our hearts over. That is how he put the kids first. It took time, but he was able to be friends with Mom, and to accept her partner. Yes, they betrayed him, yes, he still hurt over it, but he chose the most peaceful outcome, and one that was truly for the family when our parents' marriage was too damaged to be salvageable. Mom had very real reasons to be angry with Dad too, and she also put those to one side for the sake of the family. Fast forward to today, and everyone is at peace. Mom has been with her partner, my stepdad, for 30 years, and I have no doubt that they were a better fit for each other, despite how they started out. My dad, while he mightn't be able to fully forgive, recognizes this too, and today is close with them both, grandparenting as a team. My siblings and I are happy, and our family is so full of love. I know for some it will be triggering to even think about reconciling in this way. I'm sorry. For some it will be too much too soon, or not possible for varying reasons. But as you struggle with the emotions of figuring out what will be best for the kids, I wanted to share one family's story, so that maybe it will bring hope to some. Wishing you peace and healing.